everyone. Welcome to the Fandom Post Radio podcast. I am your engineer, Kate, and joining me this week is Brandon.
Hello.
And Kestrel.
Yo.
And DJ.
Did you forget who I am?
I was staring at your screen name and getting very confused for a second.
Yeah,
because I was reading it and trying to say your name at the same time. I was trying to read your name and say your name at the same time, and that doesn't work when they're not the same thing.
I'm your engineer, Sonic Bug.
Yeah, I could, yeah. See, Kestrel's name just says Kestrel, and Brandon's Brantz. But you and me are like the confusing curveballs.
I mean, Kane also is. We're kind of the odd ones out, honestly.
That is true. That is true. All right. Yeah, okay, this is a podcast about anime. We were talking about the fall 2022 season right before the new year hits. My show's not done airing. I'm guessing the rest of your people's stuff is done airing or almost done airing.
You have a show?
Yeah, To Your Eternity season 2-3, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. I would say everything that's going to end right now has ended, except Gundam, which has one more episode. I've got like 5 or so series running over into next season, I think.
Yeah, there's a couple carryovers.
Yeah, let's see. You got obviously One Piece, My Hero, Blue Lock, To Your Eternity, Iromakun. Shit, there's a lot. Eminence and Shadow. Maybe that's it. Yowamushi Pedal. That's like 6 or 7. All right, a few.
Wait, is Gundam ending next week?
It's off for the Korea.
Oh, okay. So it's just taking the show break that Gundam do. Okay. Oh, I need to catch up on that. I'm not caught up.
I like the new one a lot, but I don't have anything to compare it to.
That's kind of an interesting place to be.
I mean, that's good. Every new Gundam series is a good first Gundam for someone.
New people like me who are getting brought into Gundam now because of the nature of the new show. So that's cool. They're expanding their horizons.
Exactly.
I think it's funny because you go into it without all the baggage of like knowing every Gundam trope that exists.
Yeah, right.
It's fun.
I think it's fun for both sides. Like,
I had no idea how dark Gundam was.
Yeah, right.
Oh god, Gundam is so dark.
Yeah, I thought it was just gonna be fun action, and nope, it is dark. Not what I'd expect out of like a show as like popular and widely known as like Gundam, because like Gundam's a fucking cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Wait, you mean those plastic toys they sell are actually mass murdering weapons of destruction?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's wild. I lived next to like a Gundam store before I moved to my current house, and I just never went in there. And I think if I lived there now, I'd probably go in and still have no idea what anything is. But it'd be cool because I'm kind of invested now.
I think it speaks to, I don't know, just how cool the anime industry and community can be, that something like Gundam can be as big as it is, and something like Evangelion can be as big as it is. Like, Evangelion being the most successful anime is like if the highest grossing Hollywood film was a David Lynch film. Like, it's just wild that is as popular as
that is my dream come true, but it will never happen in a million years.
But in Japan.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It could work there.
Anyway, we have news, by the way.
All right.
Yeah, we should do the news.
Yeah. So, first piece of news. Let's see. We did record a previous episode this month, so at least these are not more than like 3 weeks old. So first piece is, earlier this year we talked about Crunchyroll's endless domination of the industry, including buying up Right Stuff a few months ago. And, we talked about how Right Stuff has been this major force in the industry for the past 35 years. And for the entirety of that time, it has been run by its founder, Sean Kleckner. And he has officially announced that he is leaving Right Stuff. And yeah, he did like fucking everything, like everything from CEO duties to like random customer service. It's crazy. So yeah, it's big news. End of an era.
Thank you for your service, Dark Lord.
Yeah,
You emptied many a wallet.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I think he's like one of the few people like in the industry be like, yeah, that guy.
Mhm. Yeah, I can't think of like another company that has a face as prominent as that anymore. Like, you know, who do you associate with Funimation? Like, what did Gen Fukunaga ever really do other than like, get his uncle to license him Dragon Ball Z? With Right Stuff, it was always Sean front and center. You could always find him. He was always doing every job imaginable. So yeah, big change.
Miss you, Sean. Enjoy your retirement.
Yep. Hopefully, Right Stuff doesn't like change significantly. Hopefully, it doesn't just like get shelved in favor of the Crunchyroll store or something.
Yeah, it's like I said though, it's probably way cheaper to run a warehouse in Iowa or wherever the fuck they are.
Yeah, but I mean, they could get rid of the platform though.
Yeah, but it works so well at the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't have any outstanding orders at the moment, which is shocking. I didn't order anything.
I got 2 open order update emails yesterday for some reason. I don't know why. The first one only had 14. The second one had 22. So I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I have a lot of open orders.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent about this, but just thinking about the Crunchyroll home video stuff. There's a lot of Crunchyroll, Funimation titles just quietly going out of print, like dozens and dozens in the past month. So check out if you don't own any shows that you want that Funimation has released like 5 to 10 years ago. Maybe grab them because they might not be around much longer. It is
give any examples of what has gone out of print quietly?
I could find the thread with all of them, but a lot. Basically, like all the stuff you haven't heard Funimation or Crunchyroll talking about in the past several years. That was never like a Crunchyroll license. But anyway, it's just a little worrying to see. At least they are still putting out a lot of like, fancy editions and stuff, so they don't appear to be exiting home video or anything. But it seems like reprints are becoming less frequent, which kind of makes sense because they have so much fucking content now.
Now you gotta be trying to go to the thread, but our website's not loading because. Come on, man. There we go. That's better.
That just makes me believe we'll never get the first like 200 episodes of Gintama on actual like physical media, because I feel like that's probably in that weird limbo of titles on Crunchyroll that will just kind of fade away at some point.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another category too. Like these are all things that Funimation has dubbed, released on several Blu-rays, re-released, and now they're just going out of print and no word on any re-releases. Maybe they'll come back, but no indication of that right now. But then, yeah, there are so many that like Crunchyroll has gotten the rights to over the years, just for streaming because they just want to stream stuff. But it comes with home video rights, and they haven't released. Fortunately, we're starting to see a little bit more of that come out with like their recent partnership with Anime Limited. They're putting out a few of those old ones, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, that kind of era. That never got a home video release in the US, so at least that's happening. But yeah, I think stuff like Gintama, like, very unlikely. That isn't, like, I could talk forever about how weird the situation with Gintama is in the US. But like that has a full dub that was released only on Hulu and is now, I think the series is now off of Hulu entirely. So who knows who, if anyone, even owns that dub. And then, yeah, the rights about each given season. Like, Crunchyroll always had the whole series, but Sentai released the first 50 episodes on DVD. So, yeah, who knows?
Jeez.
All right.
Yeah, I'm scanning stuff now. It's like Yona the Dawn.
Mhm.
Play more essentials. A lot of the essential releases.
Yeah. Yeah, all those ones that got a few re-releases. And then, yeah, they might just be kind of doing new releases, maybe not so much reprints.
Yeah. Maybe they're just gonna, slap them. Maybe if they bring them, maybe they'll put. I bet anything they're gonna look at like sales, see if it's worth re-upping some of these licenses, and then if it's not, just not bother. If they are, they'll put out a new release with Crunchyroll branding slapped across it.
Yeah. Yep, we'll see.
Here's what it is.
Yep. Next piece of news, our obligatory sad piece of news. Ichiro Mizuki has passed away. He was 74. He died from lung cancer. He was a famous anisong singer. He was notably the founder of Jam Project and the original leader of it. And yeah, obviously, like everyone else in that group, he had started doing a lot of solo anime work, a bunch of classics. And yeah, I think it was announced that he had lung cancer like a little bit ago, last year, 2 years ago or something. So, and he had, kind of put his career on hold / ended it at that point. So, yep, very sad to see. He did like a bunch of Go Nagai stuff, classics like that, 80s and 90s. Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
All right, next piece of news. We've definitely talked about this before. There's going to be a live action My Hero Academia, something at some point maybe. So now we've got a little bit more on that. Netflix has jumped on it, so it's going to be a Netflix movie from Legendary Entertainment that might have been known already. The director and executive producer is Shinsuke Sato, who is doing the live action Netflix Alice in Borderland series. And screenplay is going to be by Joby Harold, who did Obi-Wan Kenobi and Army of the Dead. So yeah, we'll see if this ever happens. If it does, why? Please stop. Don't.
I feel like this one will happen, and I feel like it will be very bad.
So bad.
This seems like a hard one to do.
Yeah.
This is hey, there's a Japanese thing that's got superheroes. Let's do that. Live action.
Have you seen these character designs? So many of them are just straight up not human.
Most of them are very not human.
It didn't stop them from trying to make live action One Piece, so.
One Piece at least has, I feel like, a higher ratio of humans to weirdly exaggerated animal characters. They exist in One Piece. But
I would say the more One Piece goes on, the more fucking absurd its character designs are. So I think early One Piece could be okay, except for the fact that One Piece just has an inherently more cartoonish art style than My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
They're all terrible ideas.
I feel like the problem is that MHA is based around a classroom full of characters. So it's they literally have to make 30 kids and introduce all of them, and they're all, half of them are CGI abominations or something. Yeah, so exactly. It's going to be really bad. Yeah,
your main cast is 30, 15-year-olds, and half of them do not look like normal humans at all. And they look specifically like stylized cartoon characters.
Oh man.
But One Piece was announced 5.5 years ago, and we've been getting steady updates, and we still have no idea when it'll come out, or even any footage, any like posters.
we
So
don't-
strange to me that people work for so long on things that no one wants.
Yeah.
I still have a weird feeling that the One Piece live action will probably turn out okay.
I do not all.
Hope that you're right.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna like at least the people that are making it seem to care.
Yeah, I mean, it has pretty sets. I'll give them that.
It's got sets.
Oda's
Which is
supervising,
more
which
than
means
Cowboy Bebop had.
a little bit of something.
When creators say they're supervising something, it means nothing.
It's like they
Yeah.
looked at him and he's just like, thumbs up. Okay.
Right, exactly.
They get sent like a picture of it once a month. Be like, yeah, that's good.
A bag of money. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, literally with like a check underneath
Yeah,
the
exactly.
notes.
The casting for One Piece looks good. Let's put it that way. That's what I'll
I
give it.
mean, I feel like everyone is like, yeah, cast of One Piece is amazing, but like no one has seen any of these actors ever perform, so
No, this is true.
I'm not like,
Well, except
Nothing
that one
about
guy, that one Japanese guy.
oh yeah, Sonny Chiba's kid, yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably okay.
I mean, what's his name? John Cho and Mustafa Shakir, they were good casts for the Cowboy
Yes,
Bebop live
I
action.
agree. The
Doesn't
only good thing
mean-
about Cowboy Bebop was
It doesn't mean the writing wasn't complete ass.
right, exactly. Yeah, and that was another one that like they put in so much time, and then like the week it came out, everyone hated it, and they were like, "Okay, we'll never do again." And they're still going on with all these other ones. So, like they've got, I can't even keep track of all the ones they have, but the big Hollywood ones that I can think of coming up from Netflix are now My Hero Academia, One Piece, Gundam, and shit, what was the last one? There's one or two others, but yeah, they just keep licensing them, and I don't understand why they think it's going to work out. It never works out. They've got another live action Death Note coming, like not even the sequel to the one movie they made. They're doing a completely
Doing
different
it again.
reboot from
Yeah.
the Stranger Things
Yeah,
guys.
the
Yeah.
Duffer Bros.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's wild.
I calling it now. They announce a live action Chainsaw Man before the second part even airs.
I'm surprised they didn't announce it before the first part aired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see if we ever get this. Hope not, because we'll suck. Something that hopefully will not suck, and we appear to finally be getting. How Do You Live? Hayao Miyazaki's first film in 10 years has a release date for Japanese theaters, July 14th, 2023. It is within 1 week of the 10-year anniversary of The Wind Rises. It's finally happening. I did not think this would happen.
That's crazy.
How old is he now?
81, 82? Something like
He's got at least another 2 movies after this.
that. The breaks between them and the periods of his retirements after each film get exponentially longer each time. So, which makes sense because he's getting older, so it is taking longer to make these movies. So if he makes what are we at, 13th film, he will probably be 100 when it's released. That's the problem. Like,
Life expectancy in Japan again? I know it's high. I don't think it's 100 high.
I mean, this is what I've always said about Miyazaki. Like, yeah, people live in their 80s. My grandfather just turned 90. I hope Miyazaki lives to 100. But he, like, chain smokes constantly. He's overworking himself constantly. He's just like a ball of anger.
I feel like he's
never been
stressed out
happy
all the
once
time.
in his life.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, all of his like old colleagues that he started working with are all gone now. Like, you know, Takahata and Otsuka and all those guys. But yeah, I'm hoping that he. I want to think about Miyazaki dying. It'll be a very sad day no matter what. But I hope it's during one of his retirements. because I'd hate for him to like start his next final movie and then, be halfway done and we never get to see it. And he never gets to finish it. And he, leaves in this state of inconclusiveness.
A la Satoshi Kon.
Exactly.
I would hate that.
Yeah. And like with him, it made sense because he was young. So of course he was making another movie. But Miyazaki retires after every movie until he gets bored and angry that everyone else isn't him. And then he has to start making another one.
He's like, anime was a mistake, which is why I need to fix it.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I feel like he's never watched any anime ever at any point. It's just his.
Yeah, no, that's basically what he says. He does not watch other people's anime. Like, at most, he'll watch... I really want to know if he watches Ava, because he loves Anno.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think at most he watches other Ghibli productions, and if they're made by his child, he berates them for them.
Yeah. Oh, poor Goro. There's no way. Yeah, just I also don't want to keep talking about a post Miyazaki world, but like, do they just close Studio Ghibli after that? Like, I don't see them giving Goro the reins or anybody else.
They'll just shut down.
Yeah, because here's the thing: he retired like 12 times, but he especially retired after The Wind Rises, and then they closed Studio Ghibli. And in the Neverending Man Hayao Miyazaki movie, they address that, and Suzuki's like, yeah, the studio exists for Miyazaki to make movies. So if he's not making a movie, we just don't have the studio open. And yeah, that movie also touches on how he tries to take time off or let other people take the reins and just can't stand it and just takes over and becomes the dictator that he is in any environment. And actually so poor Goro, true, also accurate that he makes mostly bad things. But it was really interesting. I think on like the recent re-releases in the past few years of From Up on Poppy Hill, there is some like NHK program that they include as an extra where it's like the production of the movie. And so this is Goro Miyazaki's only good movie. And it's basically just the story of how Papa Hayao just undermined his authority and took over the production from his son and just became the dictator again. And that's probably why it's his only good movie. But yeah, it's really sad and fascinating to watch. Anyway, hopefully this movie's good. Next piece of news. So yeah, this was kind of rumored for a while. The Pokemon anime has been approaching some climactic moments where Ash has actually, spoilers, like won a championship after 25 years. So yeah, yay Ash. And between that and some episode titles that came out, people were starting to wonder if this would be like the end of the Pokemon anime. So it has now been announced that the Ash and Pikachu era, at least of the Pokemon anime, their story will be coming to an end. It's got like another 11 episode series or something that they're going to have as like a closing out. They're going to have all the old characters reappear and kind of say farewell. And then sometime later, they're going to start up a new Pokemon anime series with brand new protagonists and shit. So yeah, that's another end of an era.
Man, I already know that final arc is just going to destroy me.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like, I mean, it's annoying that it's a Netflix show now, so I guess you always had to wait for Pokemon, but you have to wait however long until Netflix drops seasons. But I was thinking about maybe checking out the last season or two, because I haven't watched or really cared about the Pokemon anime in like 10, 15 plus years. But yeah, I mean, it was literally what got me into all of this. So I think
I feel old.
I mean, it's been 25 years. Like, that's not that short of time.
I remember vague. I think I watched the first season of the anime back in the land of 4Kids Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
The beginning of the very end of Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Back when
That's the only way I ever
back
watched
when
them.
rice balls were known as donuts.
Yeah. I mean, I think in Pokemon they still are. And everything else, they've embraced it a little more.
I did enjoy some of the Sun and Moon anime. I know a lot of people freaked out because the art style was different and they liked their Pokemon looking exactly how it looked, but I don't know, it was a little more free form and playful and bouncy, and I really liked the change in vibes and aesthetics of the Sun and Moon season. So I'd say give that one a shot. I think that one's also on Netflix, and then I think Journeys as well.
Yeah, I know all of Journeys is. Yeah, they've definitely been like trying new things to make it feel a little different lately. And yeah, obviously this is the biggest departure. So I might check out, because I heard like really good things about the last arc of like Ash doing the championship and everything. So I might check out some of those episodes and maybe the final stretch when it drops. And maybe I'll check out the new one when it starts and see if it's worth following. It's probably a bad idea because it's gonna, go on for another 25 years. So I probably shouldn't like get invested with these new characters at all. I will tell you one thing. After being invested in the video game series for the past 25 years, I think I'm finally ready to call that quits, or at least wait until I hear good things about new games in the future.
Yeah, I heard that's a bad scene.
Yeah, I jumped ship long ago.
Yeah, I mean, this year is weird because, like, well, the fact that they released 2 flagship titles within a calendar year probably has something to do with how bad the latter is. But Arceus was like really good and really great step in the right direction. It still has a lot of problems that they would need to work out and that they've kind of always had. But yeah, that gave me more hope that things are headed in the right direction. But
nope.
Yeah, and I haven't like completed a Pokemon game before this year, since like Sun and Moon, I think. So yeah, how good Arceus was kind of inspired me to like actually play through all of Scarlet and Violet. And nope, that was a mistake. I'm doing that again.
Speaking real quick on the change in characters, I have a feeling that with Ash and Pikachu no longer being the helm of the anime, I feel like it would just make more sense if the new protagonists weren't a permanent stay. I don't think it would be smart for them to try doing like 25 more years. Like I think if they really want the anime to like keep going and keep feeling like new and fresh like the games try to be, they should probably just, I don't know, new protagonist every season kind of thing, and let it have a little bit more freedom. But
I think there's a good chance of that at this point, because like I said, they have been trying new things in the recent seasons. The past few have each been like kind of soft reboot stylistically, and yeah, the last one like changed the whole formula up where they like travel through all the different regions, and yeah, they've been coming out with more of like those ONAs where they are like more based on the game and a little less kiddified.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah. So I think there's a good chance of that. Like, it's kind of like how at the beginning, it was Ash, Misty, Brock for the first several seasons, and then they replaced Misty, and then they replaced Brock, and it's different, companions every season. So yeah, I think since all the mainstays are gone now, it is pretty likely that each season will just have brand new cast. Maybe some, cameos.
I think that despite Pikachu, no longer being the flagship, they will continue to be like the biggest marketing tool, because it's just like Pikachu is what sells, like that Pikachu will never not sell, and it'll always be a top seller. So despite maybe Pikachu not being the face of the anime, he's still going to be the face of how they get money. So
yeah, like that whole franchise has done a good job like keeping the anime separate from the manga, separate from the games, separate from everything. So the fact that Pikachu has managed to like permeate all of those things, where like you've always got Pikachu front and center, no matter what it is, even though Ash doesn't appear in anything else. That's I agree. There will always be Pikachu, and basically every generation has had a Pikachu. You know, whether it's Pichu or Plus1 Minun or et cetera, they've all got one of those. So you can always swap it out for some Pichu replacements. But yeah,
True. I do love me some Mimikyu.
Yeah. All right. Last bits of news. Most of this is from Jump Festa. So we've got, just some like confirmations of like release dates on stuff. We got like Jujutsu Kaisen confirmed for July now. This is a little more substantial. There's a new Blue Exorcist TV anime coming.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
weird.
this series, I guess, consistently takes 6 years off between its seasons, because it was 2011, then 2017, now I guess 2023. I feel like this is a series that really wanted to be like what these modern shonen smash hit anime adaptations have become, like your Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man type. Like it was ambitious when it came out, but I think it wasn't the right time. It wasn't ambitious enough, and the content wasn't strong enough.
I think they also butchered the source material from what I hear.
Yeah, it was one of those scenarios like Black Butler and a few others where they ran out of material, so they made up their ending, and then they got a second season, so they're like, all right, everything after episode 15 didn't happen. Let's start back up again.
Yeah.
God.
Always fun when that happens.
I'm glad they're kind of starting to get away from that now, and they're just like, we'll just adapt some of it. Maybe someday we'll adapt more of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got a really good formula
need for
going.
filler is not really a thing anymore, which is
exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's possible for like weekly series. I think another problem with Blue Exorcist was that it's a monthly series, like Full Metal Alchemist, like Soul Eater. So unless you wait until it's over, you're gonna catch up eventually.
Sure.
I guess Attack on Titan did a good job with it. You just gotta wait 4 years between seasons. But
Yeah.
Blue Exorcist already has that beat. They just should have made it one core in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we'll see about that. Another piece of news, huge shocker here. Absurdly popular series gets a new season. Spy Family has the second season announced, as well as a movie, which is going to be an original story by the creator. And those are both confirmed for 2023. So we'll not be waiting long for more Spy Family fix. Hopefully it'll be the same team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hopefully a turnaround that quick will allow Wit Studio or prevent Wit Studio from jumping ship very quickly, as they have with all of their other properties.
It's probably why they announced it. They're like, please, we need Wit to hold on for dear life.
Exactly. But yeah, it's a very solid production with great direction. So I'm excited to see that continue quickly. And then last piece of news. So Hanako-kun has this announcement that they're calling like Anime Project Restart. I don't know if that means they're rebooting it. That would be kind of bizarre because the first season like just came out. It might just be like weird terminology that doesn't really make sense. But yeah, that's a series that is much better in the manga, so I wouldn't hate it if they rebooted it, but it seems unlikely. Anyway,
Weird. Lots of weird.
That's what I got for news.
There was one more piece of pretty big news. It probably only hit a few days ago, but to always add on to our obligatory sad news, the president of Studio Pierrot died.
Yeah, I did see that. Was he the current president? I know he was the founder, right?
Yeah, the founder. I don't know if he was the current president.
Yeah,
but that's something.
Yeah, very sad. Yeah, I think Piero is probably giving it its best showing ever this season. So
For real.
it's definitely a studio that has put in the work over the decades.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of huge titles. All right. I think we can get into our season discussion. I've got some notes from Kane on his shows, so we can touch on those when we get to the shows. And if we don't cover them, then I'll just get to them at the end.
Nice.
What do we want to start with?
Hmm. What is? Let's just do in. How about in honor of Kane? I think we should start with Blue Lock
It's fair.
because
right.
Down.
almost all of us have watched it. So
Yeah. I will start with Kane's bit. He said, really enjoyed the show despite my earlier concerns about just watching match after match rather than the cool soccer adjacent games. Why can't more cute sports anime boys have the crazy eyes like all of these ones do?
Yeah, they've all got the crazy eyes going on at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Lock's great. It's my favorite soccer anime out of the one soccer anime that I have watched.
I was about to say.
Yep.
It's a top 5 sports anime out of the 5 sports anime that I have watched. No, yeah, this is great because it's a sports anime, but it's a sports anime that isn't just ridiculous sports. It's ridiculous sports with a catch. And the catch is cool. I can deal with the catch. If it were just like out there playing normal soccer, it'd be boring.
Mhm.
They're fighting to survive, kinda, in a sense. And I'm all about it.
Yeah, Blue Lock basically said, what if every character had that dog in them and put them all in one dog pound? That's basically what Blue Lock is. And it's magnificent. Ooh.
Yeah, I agree. It's very different, and that's what makes it good. I have like Yomushi Pedal pretty low on my list, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But having it in a season with a sports anime that is not only much better in just about every way, but also like fresh, just makes the generic sports anime seem that much worse. Because yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen next in Blue Lock, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's not a show that I expected to surprise me, really. And I think I agree with one of Kane's sentiments that it didn't fall into that normal sports anime pitfall of just, game after game, match after match, and just stronger foe after stronger foe. There are like nice little break bits where they kind of analyze what they did and how they should play in the next game. And I feel like the characters there's a lot of dudes on the field, but so far from the main team Z, we've gotten a bit of development for a few of them, which I think is hard to do in a show like this.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I guess minor spoilers, we are talking about the wrapping up of the season. I thought the whole twist about how many teams there actually are was actually insanely brilliant, and
I knew it.
Totally caught me off guard.
I knew it. I was like, there's no way that these guys are like the bottom. That doesn't make any spoilers for Blue Lock, by the way.
Yeah.
Like the whole time I was like, I don't fucking buy it. And then he said it and I was like, damn, I wish I said something to someone so they could validate me.
Right.
Yeah, I love that reveal.
Yeah. Because everyone I knew that was watching it everyone had the same idea, like, what could the guys in like the top 10 even do? Like they all have Emperor's Eye and they're just teleporting across the field. It's like, I don't know. But
yeah, no, that was definitely like a huge moment because it changes your whole perception of what it's going to be because you don't have that insane shonen power scaling anymore that you expected you would have. And yeah, I like how they're mixing it up now, and we have basically everyone shoved together. We have different team members, like we have Nagi as a main character now for this challenge, so we get to really
I like
dive
that a
into
lot.
him more. Yeah, it's super cool.
I like that we're moving away from just games now too into
Mhm.
like weirder challenges, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I feel like the author has a real good understanding of like how not to get like stuck in like a cycle that people will get bored of, because
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like we all had a similar thought where it's like, okay, so this is Team Z, but this can't be the team the whole show, because like
Mhm.
half of these dudes are not that interesting, and at some point they're going to need to put Isagi on a team with some spicier dudes. So this is a good way of doing that.
And they still
Pacing in
kept
general
Best
is
Boy.
great right now. Like there's like they're thinning the numbers, but they're not doing it in a way that feels like it's going too quickly, and it's like everybody that we have known and grown accustomed to over the time is still there for the most part, and that's cool.
Mhm.
They haven't really gotten rid of anybody important, and it doesn't really feel like they're going to get rid of anyone important soon, until it becomes an inevitability, I guess. But I like that we are not at a point where it's just like you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead,
Mhm.
and that's cool. It feels like it's set up for the long haul.
Yeah. And they get to mix up the cast by, making old foes new allies, and then you get others that you never met before, and we'll probably like be following some of the original Team Z crew through their other teams that aren't associated with Isagi, and probably matching some of them up against their former teammates. So they have lots of possibilities for new configurations and new ways of making it interesting. Like Isagi will probably have to, kill one of his comrades at some point because they're not his comrade anymore. Shit like that.
I hope it's the monk.
He's the one this whole time I've been like, there's no way this
Right.
dude makes it past
Are you still
anyone
here?
As soon as you're like, half of them aren't that interesting, his face just popped into my head.
I was just gonna say that when he was like, "But that block with my face, that was super sick." It's like, "Yep, dude, you're really out there."
Yeah,
It's that mean Blood really thinks he's part of the team.
when Ego was like, now you can't just survive just because you had good teammates. And just that character was like all I could think of. Like, yep, weak link.
Yeah, I hope he's been doing his prayers and memorizing them.
The other guy on the team too with the fucking, I mean, saying with the spiky hair doesn't really help. Like with the lighter spiky hair, who's not Kunigami or Bakugo. The other guy who's just like the longer hair best friend looking character. He hasn't done shit either. I don't even know his name.
Yeah, like him and the kid with the curly hair. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're like the juniors from Haikyuu. They're just kind of like
Exactly.
there to make like a little comment here and there.
Exactly. Like, wait, these guys are on the team?
I feel like they have more screen time in the post credits comedy bits
Yes.
than they have in the actual show.
100%. Like, it's during additional time that I'll be like, wait, these guys are like main characters?
It's too good. Which I will also add, I love the little additional time bits.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's funny because this show ended up so low on my list. It's like 10 out of 11 of what I completed and didn't drop, but
Mhm.
that's not saying anything about the show because it's just such a stacked season.
Yeah, exactly.
So, very, very solid performance from Blue Lock.
Yeah, like it's my number 9, and it's only it's the second highest of things that I didn't give an A to. So
Yeah.
that's how packed this season was.
It's like my 4 or 5 on the whole year, I think. Can't
Yeah.
remember. It's my number 1 of the season though. Like this is the most fun that I've had with a show in a while.
Yeah.
Would not have expected a season where 2 of your top 3 are a soccer show and a Gundam show.
Yeah.
this is
Yeah,
the
me neither.
outlier season. Yeah.
Especially since these were 2 shows that I like didn't even have on my watch list when the season started.
What got you into Blue Lock? 'Cause I know I mentioned Gundam.
What brought me into Blue Lock was I think it aired early and there wasn't really anything else going on. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot because it's popular. And I gave it a shot and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, let's go.
Nice.
You took the shot. We love to see it.
I did. I smelled a goal.
Damn, we really need Kane for our transitions.
Yeah,
Alright, what
sorry.
We should get like a sitcom transition sound effect. Put that in between all of our bits of silence.
We just need to bring in like an AI
laugh
that can
track.
replicate Kane's
The
transition.
laugh track music fade into the next
Use
scene.
the Seinfeld bass line in my game.
Yeah.
I have a clip that I can send you.
No way. That's amazing.
I think if we need someone to select a show for us to talk about, we just tell Chat GPT to be Kane, and it'll probably do the job.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Let's talk about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk about To Your Eternity because Kate is watching it and she can participate.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you get me from trying to get a chat GPT to load, which it's not doing. To Your Eternity, yeah.
I like this.
All right, and that was Kate.
Yeah. I mean, it's still To Your Eternity. It's getting less depressing.
I like this season.
Is that a
lot.
good thing?
A lot more than the first one.
I don't.
The first season, the only time at any point where I really cared about anyone was the Gugu arc, which I still think is probably the best arc in the show.
I agree.
But I think Bone is like an amazing character. He's so good, and I like really care about him as a person. When like the first time I saw him, I was like, I just fucking hate you, and he won me over, and I feel like that's the mark of like a good character. Now we've got Clay Pot Girl, who is already growing on me after one episode, and it's just I don't know. I feel like I'm actually watching the show and caring about people now. Fushi is like an actual character. He's not just a blank slate who's like learning to walk anymore. He has like opinions and morals, and it feels like it's more of a focused show, and I like that. It's not just like adventure like piecemeal adventure series. It's streamlined and it's doing one thing, and I like that.
Has it broken the mold of don't get attached to this character because they will die? Or is that still...
I think that's good, because the problem I had was they kept killing people that I didn't care about. And at this point, they can kill people and I will care because the show actually got me to care now. So like if something happens to Vaughn or if something happens to Claypot Girl, I'm going to be sad because these are characters that I have a personal stake in.
That's fair, because I feel like the whole end of the first season, I was like, yeah, I expected them to die, and I still didn't care. I really did not like those characters.
The last arc of the first season was definitely the part of the first season that I did not like.
Yeah, that's why I didn't watch the second season. I was just like, I don't
really
know.
shitty for a while too.
That's true.
Yeah, that was that was rough.
It's like very ugly, just like background designs too. It's just like a not very appealing arc. Just like looked so bad.
Rushed.
Yeah, I didn't.
Just made it.
It felt very rushed, like, or but I don't. Yeah.
And this season does have a new, I think, new director and studio. Definitely new studio.
Yeah, they haven't had an episode that's looked that bad this season, so thank God.
I'm just like actually looking forward to watching it every week now, which is something I never had with the last one.
Yeah, see, that's the exact opposite for me. I do think it generally looks like more average, more mediocre overall. I think early first season looked really good. Now it just kind of looks whatever. But yeah, I think I cared about everything up to that final island arc in the first season quite a bit, especially the Gugu arc. And I mean, I agree that Bone had a surprisingly good character arc and a lot of growth and development, and he continues to be like an interesting character who is evolving as he goes along, separate from Fushi's story, which is neat because it's not just all about Fushi all the time. But yeah, I definitely have not cared about these characters and their circumstances as much, and I think that's just personal preference on any given story and how they present different characters.
I really like the episode where the church was just interrogating and torturing Mon, and he just sat there and kept throwing their doctrine right back at them, and their whole point was just to get rid of him and get him out of the picture.
He's
and
so
they couldn't find
good.
the justification for it. And he was just like, I'll recite the scripture. I will, like tell you exactly what this guy murdered this defenseless lady, etc., etc., etc. And they still, in the end, marched him to the gallows. And he could have left, and he chose not to. And they just like let him, he's like
a badass.
Yeah, it was like, okay, this has completely redeemed your character. Basically, it's like, yeah, you were the spoiled little rich kid, and now you're just like, he's like, I suck, and it's like, yeah, you kind of do, but you realize it.
Now, I do feel like, like we mentioned, you don't get attached to anyone because they'll probably end up dying. It's a big thing in this show. People die all the time. And I feel like that was effective in emotional resonance. Now I feel like death kind of means less, so the stakes aren't really as high, which also makes me a little less invested. So that's kind of a weird wrinkle in it as well.
It doesn't mean as much in what regard exactly, because of that extra ability or the light that was shined on what Fushi can do now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he doesn't know that yet, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for his character, yeah. It's just that we know that
he knew that he could do that. I would be on your side.
I feel like that's inevitable eventually. Like, he's going to find out. He has to.
Yeah, and I feel like that's that will be a big obstacle for the show and for storytelling, because it'll have to be like the dead should stay dead kind of thing, and he'd have to do all that mental gymnastics. But we're not there yet. So for me, I think that death still matters, especially now that I, unlike you, have more attachment to these people.
Yeah, and it's not like even if he could, bring whoever back from the dead, doesn't mean, I think that person has to be willing or whatever. Like, he couldn't bring that other guy back to life.
Well, he didn't know the other guy was
right. That was the reason.
Yeah.
He didn't see him as a living human. Yeah.
Like, he only has a certain number of people following him around in ghost form.
Yeah.
Anyway.
If anything happens to Echo, I'm gonna riot.
I'm
Shut up.
No, not that. No. I just going back to what Kestrel said about not feeling the last arc of the previous season. It's because Tonari was a little bitch. At least she matured before she died, because holy shit.
Yeah, she was pretty awful last season.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, I do really like the show still, so I'm just kind of nitpicking. But it did do one stupid little throwaway gag trope that I absolutely hate. Which this is actually the entire premise of a kind of shitty reverse harem show from 6 years ago called Kiss Him Not Me.
Becca read that, I think.
Yeah. So the entire premise of that show is fat, ugly Fujoshi girl turns into super hot, skinny girl because she starves herself, which is so awful. And they do a little bit of that here too. But at least it's not a big deal.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's kind of obvious when it's coming too. They stop showing the character, and it's right. Oh, Okay.
Oh, now she's just a perfectly healthy, cute, petite girl now.
Had to not eat for 2
Yep.
weeks.
Not malnourished at all, just
Yep.
ideal body type. That's how it works.
Mentally
probably
and
not
physically,
the
100%.
Thematic display the show has given us.
But yeah, other than those nitpicks, I still like it a lot. I just, at the beginning of the first season, I was like, this is going to be like an all-timer. And now I'm like, oh yeah, To Your Eternity exists. It's fine.
Yeah, you liked that pilot a lot, I remember.
I did, yeah. I liked the pilot a lot. I liked the Gugu arc, especially the finale a lot.
Google Arc's great.
Yeah. Now I'm not as enthusiastic.
All right. So, I guess I'm the transition guy now.
Yeah, you are.
Let's find something that Bren and Kestrel have in common that I also watched, and but we can do My Hero. We can do My Hero now that it's like finally interesting again after years.
That's true.
Yeah, villains are cool, and the whole season's been one giant fight, and that is fun. It feels a lot. I mean, it's like a less tournament-y tournament arc, I guess. I'm not big on shonen as a genre in general, so like these whole like season-long fights are still relatively new for me. And the last time we got something with that much consecutive action was probably, I think, season 2 was the tournament arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're just getting more of that, where it's just like hype levels are max every single episode, and that's fun because it's like it's hype and it's not really. I mean, I guess it's kind of a little bit repetitive, but like there are actually consequences in this season, and things are happening, and people are dying, which is a thing that the show has mostly avoided up until now. And it's just all fucking crashing down, and I'm having a great time watching horrible things happen to all of these people. As mean as that sounds.
No, I mean, this is literally what the entire show has been building to, is that like hero society is it's been on a very shaky foundation, and this is it finally collapsing. And for some reason I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I was writing for the last like season or 2 of this, and the anime was being paced really weird with the movie releases coinciding. But like even though this arc, the war arc, is like finally like full steam ahead and it's battles every week, I just like couldn't get myself to get hyped each week to watch it. But then once I was watching it, I was like, oh yeah, this is like some of the best content from like this stretch of the manga. And I think they at least did all of the major story beats really well. Like I loved Twice's focus episode. I think that one was amazing. And anytime the Todoroki family drama comes into play, like that's literally like Horikoshi like fucking writing flames out onto the paper. So yeah, I think all the major story beats like really hit. And for a season that is all battles, I feel like it can get kind of exhausting, but it kept up its pace really well, I think. So
Questioned it a little with the tongue black whip, where I was like, okay, this might be a little excessive.
Yeah, I don't know. Deku, I feel like Deku's character in general is like in a weird place in this part of the arc where he still doesn't even really know what he's capable of. It's strange, but
Shoto should be the protagonist. They should just he should just move over. Like Deku should die this next episode.
Wow.
Shoto should just take over.
You know, the crazy thing is when so in the episode where Bakugo like dives in and like protects Deku, I remember when the manga chapter for that dropped, people were going apeshit because like a lot of people thought Bakugo actually had died, and I heard that there were reports that like actual super fans literally killed themselves over it in Japan, and which just goes to show you how crazy the MHA fandom already is. But I don't know. I just think it's wacky that in the anime, I feel like it never really wanted to make you think that Bakugo was about to die, but it was just more so like, look, he's finally cares about Deku.
I mean, the only reason that I didn't think he was going to die is because it was like episode 5 of just it just felt like such a weird time for that to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has been really exciting, a little repetitive, but compared to the last few seasons, especially last season, God, it's just such a huge step up. So I'm excited to have a reason to care about it again, and yeah, have things actually matter and be exciting to watch.
Yeah, I think something that they could have improved on that I'm really hoping they kind of hone in more with the upcoming season is I feel like they really need to lean in a little harder on the darker elements of the show. Like I get that it's very much just like a staple shonen, like the heroes always need to win at the end of the day. But even like I don't know, the OP for this season didn't give me a sense of like urgency or any kind of like foreshadowing of like bad things to come. It was just like more hero stuff. And I'm like, oh. And then that was a major problem I had with the previous season with the My Villain Academia stuff coming into focus, is that like they didn't even give like Shigaraki his own opening theme or any of that. And I don't know, especially going into like the post-war arc, which I won't say anything about. I really hope they get the tone and atmosphere right, because at least when the manga was going on, I feel like the war arc and the arc coming up next like have a bit of a more gritty, almost like Frank Miller Batman vibe at points. And I think I would really like them to try to hone in on that a little better.
Yeah, the villains are definitely like the highlight of the series. Like you mentioned twice, and now Dobby. So yeah, it would be cool if it let itself get darker, because it definitely has the potential for that. It focuses on the villains a lot. There are a lot of really dark aspects about their characters and their backstories and their motivations. And yeah, we've got other smash hit shonen series that allow themselves to just be darker, just in general. So that would be nice.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, a good season overall.
Oh, right. I'm the transition guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of villains.
Oh
God, what's another show with villains? Arc Knights fell a lot for you, Kestrel.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah. I regret watching it.
You finished it though.
I did.
That's good. Yeah. It became less exciting as it went on, and I still think it was good overall, but it was not nearly as good as the first couple episodes of the show were.
Yeah.
Kestrel, I like that Arc Knights falls below 3 of the shows that you dropped.
Like I said, I regret finishing it. It wasn't until it was over, and I was not expecting it to end that episode. I was like, oh, that's it? Okay. But
is it like a weird that they basically covered the prologue of the game in just that adaptation, and there's going to be more of it because they announced it.
I guess that's why it's prelude.
Yeah. And I'd like to say that things are going to pick up soon, but they won't. So this was kind of like the highlight for a little while. But I liked the adaptation of that arc coming from having read the game part of it, because I feel like just Misha as a character comes across better in the anime, but it still feels a little shoehorned. Just it's weird how she is shown being opposed to the views of her brother and all that jazz, and then he dies and she's just suddenly okay, like I have your views now, like it just took your death. And I don't know, that seemed strange to me just character wise, but I feel as an adaptation it hit all the notes, and it did so in a way that was not super slow, or at least as slow as I'm used to Arknights being. And overall, like for a mobile game adaptation, I'd say it's solid.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does a lot of things really creatively with its like cinematic presentation, which was cool to see and probably what drew me in the first place. But I am curious if other people who watched it without knowing anything about the property had the same reaction as me, because I feel like not having any investment in that universe, I just could not give a shit about anything.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I get that. It took me a while to get invested in the series as well. And I can't really see any first-time viewers getting into the world of Arknights because of this anime. It feels very much like it's made for the fans of the series already, and there are a lot of them, so that's good. But
that's
I don't
the impression
know.
I got. Yeah,
I don't think it'll really introduce a lot of people to the game, which is the intention of the anime, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say it got consistently worse as it went along. Strong start, weak finish. I got to the end and I was like, really? That's it? I still have not managed to care about anything, so I guess I'm not watching anymore.
My favorite character showed up, so I'm happy about that. that was my highlight of the show.
Who's your favorite character?
Texas. The stoic one who hung out with the Exusii, the angel girl with the gun.
It's because you live in Texas.
No, I liked her, I think, prior to living in Texas.
So that's why you moved to Texas.
Yeah, I moved to Texas for her to try, and I've been on a journey ever since. No, she's just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch more, though. I wouldn't recommend you watching more if you didn't like the first part, because everything that comes after this is kind of a lot slower for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll skip it. Who knows? We'll see.
I will look forward to your reports and not engage
good.
myself.
All right. That's it for Arknights. But speaking of the letter A, Akiba Maid War is
You're
a show.
pretty good at this.
we have to do like shitty Tori for picking titles.
Oh god. Akiba Maid War, I fucking love it. It was so good. And it's just I don't know what made PA Works want to make this, but I'm glad that they did. And I feel like there's just a gas leak in their studio, because the last couple of things they have made have been so fucking weird. And this was probably the most violent thing I've seen them do since Another. So that's cool.
They did Another.
They do Another, right? I'm remembering that correctly.
I believe so, yeah.
That's
I think
crazy.
they did. Yeah, it seems unlike what they normally do, but yeah, the first episode was wild, and it hooked me immediately, and then I fell out of love with it because it was just quirky maid violence for another few episodes, and then it gets like it got really depressing near the end, and that hurt me, and I didn't expect it to hurt me because it was just a show that I was having fun with. But it's an actual solid mafia drama, and I didn't expect to say that of a show focused on maids.
This is easily the one show I regret not watching this season.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't. Yeah, because like if you like, DJ's gonna hate me for saying this, but like if you like Pop Team Epic, I feel like Aki the Maid War accomplishes what people claim is good about Pop Team Epic. Like, it's just a big shitpost of a show. But it's like
Also serious though.
Yeah, but it being serious is part of the joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's consistently like funny, and it doesn't just seem like random bullshit. Like, there's shit that makes no sense, but it's all kind of the same flavor of just exaggerating this absurd premise of what if maid cafes were the Yakuza, just to the most extreme extent. And yeah, there were times definitely throughout it that I was like, I feel like they're just telling the same joke. I don't really care that much. But I agree, like, the last stretch was surprisingly solid, and it's a tough balance to manage, like, being serious when your whole show is a shitpost. But I think it could work as a serious plot element for people. It could not work for people because they're used to it all being a joke. And I think for me, it worked as part of the joke because the very concept of it being serious is as ridiculous as anything else it ever did.
Yeah, in the context of the world, which is kind of like how I was trying to look at everything, in the context of that, what happens near the end is sad. And by that point, I was so deep where it was just like, you know what? This is normal. Like, the joke was no longer a joke. This is just how life is now. And
you're going to be really disappointed when you go to Japan.
I really am. But yeah, it's another solid PA Work show, and it reminds me why I love them so much. It was, like you said, that last stretch was really kind of a turning point. It was the best part of the series, and it was really middle of the road for me until that happened. But I'm glad it did, and I'm going to remember this for a while. I don't know. I have a great fondness for the studio's art style in general, and seeing them be ridiculous in a way that doesn't annoy me and is well made makes me happy. And that's all I need. And maids.
Yeah, I think it was probably like the bottom of my list, close to being dropped for a good stretch of the season. And then the final stretch, I was like, okay, yeah, all right, you get a pass.
Okay, let's talk about something I didn't watch that everyone else in the world did in Chainsaw Man.
Oh boy. Oh yeah, so Kane doesn't have anything on this because he dropped it probably at the point that we recorded the last one. Yeah.
Yeah. He couldn't handle the Himeno.
So, did you guys, well, you obviously liked it because I see it on your lists, but tell me again, what is it about this show that makes it special? And did your opinions on that from the time it started to now shift in any way?
All right, so that's like the question I have an infinitely longer answer to than literally anything about Chainsaw Man itself. So yeah, I feel like even though it had like really strong episodes and like episodes 8 and 9, that were huge turning points and really gave me a sense of what could be so great about the series and what I can look forward to in the future and kind of just change up the whole status quo. Other than that, I feel like for the most part, I have not seen what makes Chainsaw Man great yet as a baseline source material. However, the adaptation is just so absurdly good. It's like the most cinematically, filmically, creatively directed TV anime I've ever seen in my life. Consistent from start to finish. Every frame of every episode is just like, yeah, incredible piece of film. And this is like every single director working on it has had like no major directing credits to their name. It's amazing. And of course, the production values are absurdly good. We get not only like just crazy good Sakuga animation for all the action sequences, but just incredible nuanced character animation for all the dramatic bits. And those are like especially creatively directed. I feel like this dawned on me when I was reviewing the final episode yesterday, 2 days ago. I feel like each of the main characters gets a different directorial style dedicated to them. So like the scenes where Aki is the star have a very distinct feel, and the scenes where Denji is the star have a completely different but equally distinct feel. And they manage to like balance each of those so well, and like Kensuke Ushio's score will be like completely different genre for each of them. And yeah, the way it just balances heavy drama, character moments, poignant pathos with absurd like South Park level comedy, total like shithead protagonists, and then just like balls to the wall, crazy awesome action. The way it can do that so consistently, like all within the same episode, is just incredible. And then like just to, as if Mappa needed to prove more that like they're putting everything into the show. Every single episode gets a unique ending theme and sequence, and most of them are like huge name artists.
They were all pretty stunning too.
Yeah, and all of the sequences are like totally unique aesthetics and like really creative, and they put a lot of attention to detail into them. So yeah, like just everything about the show, it's like I get that people are like in love with the manga and they're in love with Fujimoto's style, and some people are so in love with the very distinct things he does with the medium of manga that they can't accept anything being different from that, even if it utilizes the medium of filmmaking and anime really, really well. But I feel like, yeah, even though we haven't gotten to what I assume we haven't gotten to what makes it like the greatest masterpiece that changed art and everyone who's ever consumed it, as everyone seems to make it out to be. They are at least trying to match that hype as best as they can by just making it the most insanely great adaptation that they possibly can. And yeah, it's someone mentioned yesterday, they're like, they were just kind of speaking about the story, I guess, but they're like, it kind of feels like when I watched the first season of Breaking Bad, because like everyone talked about it as the greatest masterpiece, but at the beginning it's not that great. And that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's something special that's going to become this huge masterpiece from what we've gotten so far, even with those big twists and developments in episodes 8 and 9. But just the presentation of it all is just packaged so well that I'd take much more generic shonen packaged like that.
Yeah, I actually prefer the Breaking Bad manga to the TV show. So, I think
I think the Breaking Bad manga is Death Note, actually.
Jesse, we need to get their names. I think for someone who hasn't read the manga, you have a pretty good grasp on the where the situation is with the first season, because it is an amazing adaptation, and it really, like, you can tell that the creators all understand what Fujimoto like wants to do with the series, and like the stylistic cinematic flares that they put onto it. And it really is one of those things that you do have to just wait and see, because Chainsaw Man as its first part stands is a complete package, and it's like you said, it's one of those things where most people don't really get Gurren Lagann until after episode 9, and most people don't get Breaking Bad or The Sopranos until like 2 or 3 seasons in, stuff like that. It's one of those things where, and this is something I've seen a lot, strangely, from all the people that are anime onlys that have watched it. They're like, oh yeah, it's nothing, no, like the story isn't anything crazy, but like, the action is like insane and the animation's awesome. That's the thing about this adaptation that really is selling it to people, is that the action was never really the standout quality of the manga, which for me, it's the story, and like you had mentioned, the way Fujimoto panels and the way he uses the medium of manga to like frame the story. But yeah, it's one of those things where this is in a way, not to compare it to what you just said about Arc Knights, but this is like the prologue of Chainsaw Man, and you really can't say much else before, like, because that was something when Kane was talking about how he didn't like the big twist, which was like the episode like 8 or 9 when they fight the Katana Man and the Snake Devil. As someone who's like consumed all of Chainsaw Man to this point, by the time we get to whatever the second season covers, that isn't even a twist. That's just like another stepping stone to like continue the story and continue like building Denji as a character and like what's going to flourish into what it becomes. So all you can really say about it is the adaptation so far has been really stellar, and I think a lot of people just need to calm themselves and like have some patience, because they're used to like JJK got 24 episodes a season, and Demon Slayer gets 24, 25 episodes a season, and it's like, yeah, well, this one is half of that, and if we all like know Mappa well enough, they could not have probably pulled off 24 episodes for this show in the span of time that they're also working on the final Attack on Titan movie and the new season of Vinland Saga.
Insane.
And like everything else that they're also working on.
Another season of Jujutsu Kaisen, another huge shonen property that's coming out.
Yeah, and then the leaks that saying they got One Punch Man season 3. It's like, please, Jesus. Like let
are those leaks or memes?
I don't know.
Just Mappa picks up everything.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all I'll say is wait and see. Just like appreciate the adaptation for what it is so far. Like, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece right now, but I do think it is hitting all the check boxes of like what it should be doing, and I love it for that.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, you go. Okay, no, I'll go. I've watched since it's not a show that I'm currently invested in, I'll like watch clips of it when it comes up on my feed, and half of the clips are interesting, and it's well animated and well acted, and it looks really cool, but then the other half are really gross, and I feel like that's a big barrier to entry with me, or for me, because I don't like gross stuff, and I don't want the show to gross me out, and so I've like every time there's a thing that makes me want to watch it, there's another thing that makes me not want to watch it.
Did you see a scene with built-in censorship?
I did not.
Then, man, you have not seen what will gross you out.
Oh,
no. Yeah, Fujimoto is actually a freak. I feel like weekly, as I was reading the manga, I was like, how is this in Shonen Jump? And that made sense to me when they were like, all right, we're actually going to move it. Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember there was a chapter in the first part that Viz's Shonen Jump website had behind like an 18+ age gate.
Yeah, they were like, we're actually going to move it to the like Jump Plus because like we need this to be just web only because we didn't realize how freaky it was going to get. But I mean, the chapters are still coming up on the Jump app, so like I think it makes too much money for them to really hold back now.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the other things I was going to say, just from what you had mentioned before, yeah, I had the same thought that like I wish we could have gotten more than 12 episodes because it means we have to wait who knows how long until we get to whatever makes Chainsaw Man so great. Um, but also that, yeah, I don't think we could have gotten this level of quality across the board for 24 episodes, especially from Mappa. Like, I I love that they're putting everything into this and that it's so polished and they're just giving so much creative freedom. But it'd be even better if they were like Wit and would just focus on a single production at a time, because then we could easily get 24 episodes at that quality. Um, but instead, they have like five absolute behemoths working on at the same time. So yeah, I'm amazed that we got what we did. Um, I'm a little worried for their other productions because it seemed like all the resources had to go into this, and it makes sense because it's their first. They're the entire production committee production, so it's all on them. They put everything in, they get everything out. They have all the rights for the anime anyway. So it makes sense that yeah, they're making it as good as it can possibly be. And yeah, I think what Fujimoto does. Like I haven't, like you said, I haven't read the manga. I've seen panels where people are like, "This is why the manga's better." I read the first few chapters when they came out. I just got the first like 4 volumes, and I've looked at a little bit of it. But I get people's opinion of like, yeah, he's really great at using the medium of manga, the way he like frames stuff, and yeah, I just think that is exactly what this adaptation is doing. You adapting something is not copying it one for one. There would be no point of that. That'd be a huge waste. You already have the manga. You can go read that. That's great. Adapting it well is to utilize the medium that it's going into as well as you possibly can. And especially for something where the source material utilized its medium so well and so uniquely. So I think everything that's great about Chainsaw Man so far are aspects that are impossible in comics, that you can only do in film and animation. And they're doing that great. Fujimoto knows how to frame stuff in manga panels. They know how to frame stuff in, filmmaking. And they do so way more creatively than almost any TV anime, especially like Shonen Jump adaptations. So yeah, I just appreciate that so much, especially since Fujimoto is such a film fan. Like, this has to be like his dream adaptation, seeing his work turned into like this incredible theatrical production. Like, yeah, that's perfect. Of course, that would be what he would want Chainsaw Man to become. So
yeah, I mean, he even said so himself in like some tweets a few days ago, just based off of the Google Translate of what his tweet said. He was like, "Thank you for cleaning up my dirty lines." Like that's the thing is, I understand people having a preference of like the manga to the anime, but like you said, like a good adaptation will use what's strong about its medium to elevate the source material. And like that's exactly what it does, because at the end of the day, Fujimoto isn't an amazing artist. Like, he has a lot of standout panels and like some amazing art, but a lot of the stuff along the way in Chainsaw Man is very rough around the edges, and you can tell that being a serialized artist was very difficult for him, and like it comes through in a lot of the art. But yeah, that's why being able to give it the cinematic qualities that he's not able to do on a piece of paper is like what makes the adaptation so special. And you can like both. It's totally cool. You can. I like both. You can like both too. Okay.
Yeah, I'm totally looking forward to like digging into the manga. I probably will keep myself behind the anime. I don't know. We'll see how my patience lasts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm totally looking forward to seeing like what unique things he does with the manga that couldn't be done in the anime, just like all of the unique things that could only be done in the anime. So yeah, it's fun. It's a series that I would not be that excited about if it were not presented so incredibly um, professionally and creatively and ambitiously. So I appreciate that it's tiding me over until it gets incredible in every way by just being incredible in all the ways that it can without altering the story.
Mm-hmm. This season is very, very strong in its adaptations. Like literally, my top 5 are all, or top 6 really are all adaptations that are just like banger.
Right,
I don't know the Bochi source material, but literally everything else.
I mean, I feel like most things are an adaptation.
Yeah, I agree.
That's true.
But I also agree that this season is really strong in high quality adaptations because like, looking at the top like 5, 6, 7 of my list, top 5 at least, like I know whether I've read the manga or not for these, I know the anime is just elevating that material so much. So yeah, it is a really impressive season for making manga much better in anime form.
Yeah. And I think an excellent transition for that would be to talk about Bleach, which is maybe the best adaptation of the season.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah, like I wouldn't have given this source material above a B minus. It is insane what they've done with it. Like I don't think Kubo ever thought that Bleach could be this good.
No.
It is fucking wild.
What's making it stand out so much exactly? Because if the source material isn't great, is it just like an animation thing, or?
I mean, it's all of those things. It's everything that you can do in anime, just turned up to 11. And like they're kind of playing with the source material because like the things that made it not so great are the pacing. This went on too long. This didn't have enough focus on it. This was a big fight, but it wasn't that impressive on the page. All of those things, they're just like kind of taking it from its base level and being like, what could this have been in the ideal world where you didn't have, weekly serialization, deadlines and restrictions and expectations? What about this story can we just extract and turn it into the most incredible piece of animation that we can? I was
just going to say real quick, my comparison is that the final arc of Bleach in the manga is Evangelion episode 25 and 26, and Thousand Year Blood War anime arc is the end of Evangelion of the manga arc. It's just like you said, like deadlines and Kubo just becoming like sick of his series and like the plot just like falling apart left and right. Like his art was probably the only thing that like stayed consistent up until the end, and even then he gave up drawing backgrounds altogether, basically. But no,
the anime has backgrounds, A+.
Yeah, for real. But no, yeah, this adaptation has gone above and beyond. And the crazy thing is I don't remember most of the major beats of this since I read them a decade ago. So like there's so many reveals that were happening that I was like, oh shit, I forgot this happened. And like reliving that is honestly baffling to me that I can still like Bleach is still surprising me in the year 2022. Right.
And like, yeah, I mentioned this before. I'll probably mention it again when we talk about like our top of the year. But when did the Bleach anime start coming out in the US? Probably like at least 15 years ago. So we'll say 15 years ago, I was 15. The coolest that I ever thought Bleach was as a 15-year-old, it has now become that as a 30-year-old. Like it is so good that it's able to make me feel like a kid again and not out of nostalgia. Because like I went into this season being like, I really give a shit about Bleach. I'll give it a few episodes. I'll drop it if I'm not really feeling it. Because I don't. The arc didn't really grab me in the manga. The last few arcs before it like didn't really need to happen. It's whatever. But I think like the AX panel where they first started revealing a bunch of stuff about it, they like showed the trailer and they had a message from Kubo where he's like, yeah, we're gonna like change a bunch of stuff. And once that stuff started to come out, like I was with Skylar during that panel, and I think we were both like looking at each other like, is this like looking like it's gonna be really good? Like, is that possible? And then yeah, when it hit, just every episode just mind blowing, and the music, like God, like Sagisu has definitely peaked in his career in the past few years with the last Ava movie and everything. But I think this like even blows away anything that he's done for Ava, and that is insane to think about.
Oh yeah, I still listen to like the Bleach soundtrack now and then, just like those Spanish guitars and the pianos and stuff, and like hearing them reworked into like the moments of the new show, just like, oh God, I can't handle it.
Yeah, like that one track that they'd use all the time in the original. Like most of the soundtrack I really love, but there's the one that does like the really weird time signature thing with like the, I don't even know how to describe it, but kind of electronic sounds, like kind of feeling like it's breaking up or something. I don't know. That they use all the time. And they like turn that into like this incredible symphonic production in this new series. And the same thing with like one of the best songs, like the big vocal one. You know, they use that in the first and last episode of the season. And the new mix of that is just like I wanted to just like stand up and scream. Like that's how Bleach makes me feel now. I never thought I would have that effect on like most of those kind of old like Naruto, Bleach kind of running Shonen Jump stuff, but especially fucking Bleach. Like I was so sure I didn't give a shit about Bleach anymore.
Yeah, and I feel like they also do a good job of reminding you where it came from, because they do make some stylistic choices that make me feel like I'm watching a show from the mid 2000s. Like this is partly just of when it was written, just like the tonal whiplash that happens sometimes, like right after like the commander dies and like all this like grim darkness and sadness is just like the next episode, like Renji and Ichigo go to the spa and they go and eat a bunch of food, and the fat lady turns skinny. Wait, didn't we already talk about that? But
that's true.
But just like stuff like that, and like the right after the OP, they do like a little snippet of song and like a mini 5-second preview of like what's to come in the episode. Just like the show just like sometimes feels like it's like from that old age of anime broadcasting.
I will say that thing, that's just a normal anime thing that only some simulcasts keep in, because that's where they show the sponsors.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I was like, literally, I would be like waiting to hear them say the sponsor stuff. Yeah.
Kono bangumi wa.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that whiplash, that was kind of the only point in the series where I was like, okay, maybe it drops down to, you know, not an A+ or whatever. But yeah, I think overall, and the fact that they, you know, they don't reanimate scenes from flashbacks when they're showing stuff in the previous season. I like that they put the filters on it.
They're like really high contrast pink and stuff.
So like in like one thing that it does, it makes you know that it's flashback, obviously. Another thing is that it kind of hides how shitty it used to look. I mean, it looked pretty good first time, but compared to now, like, holy shit. So it masks that a little bit, but also just having that old animation spliced in between just gives you that much more appreciation for how good it looks now. So yeah, I think all the ingredients just contribute to making it an incredible experience.
Yeah, just my final note on that. With the whole whiplash thing, it reminds me of a lot of how I feel now that I mentioned, I think before, how now that I've caught up on One Piece, every episode for One Piece currently, as I watch it, it's like, oh, this episode is either like a 5, 6, or 6 maybe, like pretty mid weird episode with recap, or it's a 9 or 10 out of 10, and
Yeah.
it's like batshit insane, like the best animation I've ever seen.
Right.
That's like what that stuff was, where it's like, oh yeah, Renji and Ichigo are like dicking around after a really important arc. I guess this show's back to being mid, and then like the Kenpachi Unohana fight, and I'm like, oh my god, like how could the series like have just been like a slapstick piece of shit 5 minutes ago?
I don't know.
So,
Yeah, I mean, One Piece. So, are you watching the One Piece anime now weekly?
yes, now I
Okay.
am. It ended on a great note, by the way. The last episode was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like the One Piece anime overall, like the Wano arc has been incredible adaptation. But yeah, you do get like 1 or 2 episodes a core that are like absolute masterpieces, greatest animation of the year. And then some of the rest is kind of middling.
Yeah. If I have to like listen to Otama tell everyone to fight Kaido again, I will rip my hair out.
And I mean, a big problem, of course, is the fact that it has been running every single week for the past 25 years, and the manga is still ongoing, and Oda takes a week off every month, which is good to keep doing that. But it means that it's literally impossible to even have a pace of 1 chapter per episode, which is already, a snail's pace. So they got to drag stuff out no matter what, unless they are going to start doing it seasonal, which they never will. So yeah, Bleach has that advantage, obviously, because the manga's been over for years. And even that paradigm of like, One Piece gets 1 masterpiece episode out of 13, and the rest are just fine. Bleach got 12 masterpiece episodes out of 13, and then 1 was just fine.
Yeah, I think that's something that it's when we're looking at literally the 2 things we just talked about with Chainsaw Man and Bleach. It's like Bleach, all the source material, it's over and done with, and like people have known it for so many years, and now it's just like being excited to see how they adapt it. Whereas Chainsaw Man is like that new hot shit, and like half the people haven't read the source material, and they're like, so what makes this such a big deal? And like people like need it all now. So.
And I think like how bad Bleach got and how hyped Chainsaw Man was also helps. Like no one is giving a shit about Bleach in the past 10 years, and then it just comes back as this fucking juggernaut. Chainsaw Man has been the most hyped up thing in the universe for the past like 2 years. Then the anime comes out and you get 12 episodes and it doesn't go very far. So yeah, that's definitely an advantage that Bleach had. It's like, bet you weren't expecting this, bitches.
It's true. Bleach has always been like when everyone talks about the big 3, we know who is 3rd place for most people.
Yeah. And I mean, the big 3 only even ever existed in the US. Like in Japan, Bleach could never hold a candle to the others.
No.
And yeah, in the past 10 years that Bleach has been off the air, I think people just totally stopped caring about it. And it's remarkable that it not only came back, but with such a vengeance. So people at Pierrot must really care about finishing it right. And they certainly are.
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to mention everything in Bleach looks amazing. CG and Chainsaw Man, not a fan.
Yeah. It is a bit of an uncanny valley. I think the main issue is like they just can't have shots of them just talking in their forms, or they just need to like, I don't know, be a little more. They need to just use camera tricks to make it not look like we're looking at a piece of CG. I don't know, because I think in motion, the CG looks amazing. It's when they're static and talking and standing still, or just like kind of wobbling back and forth as they talk, that's when it really starts to look bad.
Yeah.
Like anytime, like in the last episode or 2, when like Katana Man would talk and it'd do like a close up of his mouth moving, and I'm just like, oh man, they really don't need to show me this.
I agree with that. Like it definitely looks better when it's in motion, but even in those scenes, I'm watching them, and it's because this adaptation is so stellar that I get to have these nitpicks where
Mhm.
I'm like, what's the only thing that I could think of that would just easily make this better? And it's if they hand drew that and made it as good as the Sakuga that you get in the scenes that they did hand draw, like I
Mhm.
think that would actively make the show better. That's the only thing I can point to. So
Yep.
because of that, that's kind of my one nitpick. And it was kind of the same thing like with Attack on Titan when Mappa took over. Like I think they look better than Dodo Hedoro, which is like Mappa all CG all day. But they still use it a little more than other studios. They definitely used it more than Wit for Attack on Titan, and I think it looked worse. So yeah,
Man, I pray for those animators making the final Attack on Titan stuff. That I do not envy them, because if they thought animating one Colossal Titan was bad, like this whole final season will be nothing but Titans, So
right.
it should be interesting.
Maybe that's why we still don't have a release date.
Yeah, this is also what every JoJo fan's going through. Like, how are they going to animate horses for Steel Ball Run?
Oh man, I want
I
to
think
do a run.
And I think the answer is don't think about that, because we have a couple of years before we need to think about that.
We ready for another segue?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't have it.
Oh no. Oh no.
Let's see. We've talked about 2 major shonen action series in a row. And Mob is your number 1 brand. So
it is. No, we don't. No.
riding the train.
I'm riding it hard. I love my angsty protagonists. How about this? DJ, would you rather talk about Gundam or Bochi?
I would probably rather talk about Bochi because I'm 1 episode behind on Gundam. I haven't watched this week's yet.
That's fair. I haven't either.
I'm
But
way behind on Gundam, so if you want to abstain from Gundam, I would appreciate it. We could always talk about it later.
talk about it probably at the end of the season 1 if it's on any of our tops. But yeah, Bochi is fun. It is a better K-On! And I'm cool with that. I wasn't able to connect with Bochi the way a lot of other people were, and I feel like that sort of diminished some of the greatness in the eyes of many viewers. But overall, I liked it a lot. The characters were fun, and I had a good time watching it. And the music was great at the end. It took a while to get there, and we finally got there, and I liked it a lot. And there has to be more, because I don't like how it ends. I feel
so.
like it has to keep going, and it probably will because it was successful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a solid start to what I hope will go on for longer and suck me in a little harder in a completely non-sexual way.
You didn't even say that last part.
Good end. Not how I wanted it to go.
Yeah, I think this show, for me, it's like it wasn't anything like kind of like what you were saying about Chainsaw Man, Kestrel, is that like so many people were like hyping it up on Twitter and stuff. I was like, oh man, Bochi must like really be something else. And it isn't really something else, but it is very entertaining, and the characters are very endearing. And Bochi is an amazing character. I, at least, I'm a really big fan of her and her meltdowns. And usually, I am very not into those kind of characters that are just like,
Same, yeah.
I don't know, the ball of anxiety characters in anime usually just come off as annoying. But I don't know, anytime Bochi had some kind of mental breakdown, it was actually hilarious. And
Only perspective when she does it. So it's just like you get to see her thoughts. You never get to see the thoughts of people like Comey. And
that's
so
true.
It's a lot easier to sort of empathize, I guess, with a character like Bochi when you know specifically what she is thinking and why her thought process is as bad as it is.
Yeah. And it also helps that like her thoughts are rendered in like every form of animation possible. Like whether it's like shitty Blender models being thrown through a bunch of cubes, or like any kind of like diorama with her spinning around, just like so creative. That one was so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the fact that, you get so much time in her head, and that I was able to connect with her particular brand of anxiety so closely, definitely helped make it so beloved to me. And yeah, even though those breakdowns are like used for jokes, not only can you see where she's coming from it, but like I mentioned last time, like they are the extremes that I feel like those kind of situations are for people like me and Bochi. So yeah, it totally works for me. It makes sense. It's funny, and I feel like I'm laughing at myself in a way that like I can appreciate. Like for cute girl 4 gag series, it is just so genuine, so sincere, and I just appreciate that so much. And yeah, I like, like even the little fantasy she has about like these impossible scenarios of fame and stardom. Like that shit goes through my head, even though I know that it's completely impossible. And the funniest part is that people like Bochi and I would never be able to handle those situations if we were actually somehow achieved them. So yeah, I really dig all of those little bits. Cause I'm like, yep, this is just me all the time. And of course, it looks amazing. The music, when they do play, is great. I think the albums are being released on platforms across the internet now, so I'm looking forward to listening to all that. Some Kesoku band.
I just want to say their name is amazing.
Yeah.
I am glad that they never changed it.
Right.
It's fantastic.
Just phonetically, it just feels so good to say it.
Yeah, Kesoku bando.
Zip tie.
Okay.
I will say, like, about the music, I do love it, and I wish there was more of it. Like, being able, I just wish there was at least one more like concert type episode. But what we got was amazing, and I already do love that. Even on like the official channels for, I don't remember which like big conglomerate is their YouTube is a part of, but they already posted like a live action version of her guitar solo where they actually snip the cord and play it with the glass, and I was just like, awesome. Oh my god, I love that this exists.
It's amazing.
But, yeah, I think this show had like a bigger cultural imprint than I expected it to, and
totally.
It's very cute.
I went into the season not expecting anything from that show.
Yeah,
it's the opposite. I expected everything.
I literally didn't know. I'd never heard the title until DJ was like, "Yeah, the only show I'm looking forward to is this." So then I googled it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, interesting."
Well, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah,
I'm glad you showed me Gundam, which we will not talk about, I guess.
But yeah, the one other thing I'll say is, you mentioned last time, like, everything seems too easy for them for, a bunch of kids in high school starting a band. But as I kind of mentioned there, and I still definitely stand by, I definitely appreciate that the most success they've achieved is that some people at their high school knows who they are now. Like, that feels totally in line. And I would love to spend more time on them, like actually practicing and like going through problems, trying to expand as a band. But I think for a big character arc for this one core, with some great bits of band antics and music thrown in, I think it was incredible.
I agree. And then we can get a 2-core, more Beck style version of Bochi the Rock next year. Will be beautiful, but won't happen.
Damn. Bochi on tour, man. I need it.
Yep.
I need to see her go through some shit.
But I will still maintain that, like, in terms of the believability of how successful they are as a band, like Beck may have gone through a lot more shit, but they got a lot of success fairly easily. These are still just school kids playing to their school audience, and a club that one of their members' sister owns.
The culture festival was, I feel like, a needed regression. Like playing in like a cool venue as your first show is not entirely unrealistic, because I know people who have done that, but like it felt to me like it was just going to keep being that, and I'm glad that was sort of just like okay, well, now we have to be more realistic with our goals, so let's play a culture festival, because that's how all the young bands start. It's always something like that. So I'm really happy with the way the series ended. Well, apart from the actual ending of it, but the ending arc is good.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I do appreciate that even like when they get to play at their venue, like no one gives a shit about them. Like when Bochi really pulls it out, there'll be 2 or 3 people whose heads turn up and are like, "Oh, she's a good guitarist," but they are by no means popular. They have like at most half a dozen fans. They
reinforced that throughout, and it kind of dispelled my worries of like, okay, this is a little too easy for them, and I appreciated just that constant reinforcement. I was just worried that it wasn't going to go that direction, and was worried that we just completely avoid conflict.
Yeah, there's enough internal conflict within Bochi to make up for any lack of external conflict, but it's good to see some variety.
Kukuri should stop drinking.
Yeah. I don't like those characters. I mean, I don't like people drinking in real life, so that probably has something to do with it. But I don't like characters. Same with the teacher in Yudu Camp, like whose character is just I'm drunk all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is like they portray it as like some silly, quirky character in anime, and it's like if you know that person IRL, you do not want to hang out with them.
Right. Like even if you are entertained by that, that's just really bad alcoholism. Like that's presenting it as this quirky, funny little gag.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, one of my mom's boyfriends, because there have been 6 million of them, was a big dude, and he took me backstage to like this like underground rock show, and I was like 15 years old or something, and everybody was just like stoned out of their mind and just drinking, just guzzling it down and just doing everything, and I'm 15 and they're like, "Yo, drink with us," and he was like, "You know what, go ahead," and I was like, "This feels wrong, but you're all rock stars, so I am now pressured in doing this." And it's like those people exist, and it's sad that they exist because it's such an unhealthy way to live, and they all die really early, but that's something people fall into, and it's kind of like Kukuri says, where it's just like it helps them be more comfortable. And
random tangent question, do you write any characters in your game based off your mom's millions of boyfriends?
Not based on her boyfriends, because there's only like one male character with an actual model in my game. It's the protagonist. But
that's fair.
One of the heroines is highly inspired by my mom in the whole alcoholism aspect and all that jazz. So
gotcha.
Does that get weird when you have? Never mind. I'm done with this story.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Turning into some.
She's one of the girls' moms.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Safe.
I'm like, yeah. That was big O territory.
I don't feel safe anymore.
All of the girls all the time, guys. That's not how the game works.
I just wanted to get one show out of the way real quick, because I feel bad that I haven't watched any of it, because I feel like to a lot of my friends I'm like the resident Lupin guy, and I have not gotten to Zero at all, but I see you dropped it. Kestrel, is it not doing it for you, or?
Yeah, I mean, not all Lupin does it for me. I dropped part 6 after the first core.
That's fair. Part 6 was probably the weakest part I've watched.
Right, yeah. So it's another one where it's not very strong. It's just kind of a gimmick that no one really asked for, and it approaches its storytelling in the gimmicky ways that you would expect from that, where it's like, let's take Lupin in his 30s and make him a teenager. And how would that go? How would he get introduced to, girls and cigarettes and guns and stuff like that?
So wait, is it like a Detective Conan type thing where his mental age currently in a kid's body?
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's how it's written.
Okay.
Or it's written like, like they might as well call it Lil Lupin.
Lil Lupin, yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, what would Lupin be if he was a kid?
That's true. And it's like, I know he didn't meet Goemon and them until later, but we can't have them not be in it as kids, so.
Right, yeah.
Shoehorn.
We've got a little teenage Jigen who's just a 30-year-old dude who drinks and smokes and shoots guns in Japan.
No. That just makes me think they're going to have a Fujiko character that is underaged and being weird.
I was waiting for that. Like, maybe not. Maybe I just don't need to watch this.
Oh, no, dude.
So it's whatever. It's still got your general Lupin charms, but Lupin is so varied that, I know it can be much better, so I'll just wait for it to be really good again, because we'll get that eventually. And I do appreciate that it's like a huge love letter to part 1, which I just watched for the first time this year.
Nice.
It has a lot of very direct callbacks and homages to that. And I appreciate that. It does do kind of like the Megalobox thing where it tries to look like it's from an older era. And that's a neat idea, but it kind of looks like shit as a result in some ways. So, take it or leave it. I'm sure it works on some people, and that's cool.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's only 6 episodes total, so whatever. Not a big investment if you want to watch it all.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Anything else anyone was hankering to talk about?
Ken wrote a paragraph on Do It Yourself, and I can preface that paragraph by saying it is comfortable and fun, and it won't stick like Eurocamp does, but it's good to hold me over until we get more of that.
Did you watch the movie?
A great time, and I think the opening is absolutely adorable and is stuck in my head forever.
Did you watch the Eurocamp movie?
Not yet. I'm off all of January, so I'm going to watch it then. I haven't had time yet.
Okay, cool.
They're older for it, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I can imagine. I hope none of them have significant others.
That trope I mentioned not liking. Yeah, there's some more of that.
Oh
no! Not the trope I mentioned not liking at the beginning of the show with the weird fat shaming thing. The trope I just mentioned not liking, that's already in Eurocamp. Yeah.
Oh God, who is it? Don't worry.
Find out. Anyway, Kane's a little bit on Do It Yourself. He says, a thoroughly inoffensive, cute show. I'm glad that stupid teacher got the girls the lumber. That lumber after she fucked up so bad. Loved how all the wood was already planed and in consistent lengths so conveniently. She bought that shit.
What a detail for him to hone in on. That's so funny.
Because Kane's whole thing when he first went into the show, before he even started watching, he's like, I just need it to be like the midnight Home Depot run where they realized they didn't have the right size screw or whatever.
It's funny because that literally was like the one piece of conflict that was in the entire show was like, the garbage man came and took all of our materials. What do we do? Yeah, I will say inoffensive is a perfect way to put it. It was very like lighthearted, cute show. It definitely, like, my interest on it waned halfway through the season, but after I binged the last like 4-ish episodes at the end, I came around to it. It definitely hit a bit of a soft spot with like the the nostalgia of like building like a childhood fort and just like feeling accomplished after like a season's worth of like building up to like we're gonna make something. And I think they pulled it off. And yeah, it was nothing special, but it was definitely wasn't a waste of my time. I personally, I know Kane at least mentioned not being too into the aesthetic. I don't know if you felt the same way, DJ, but I actually really liked the
And
the
I
art
think
style of it.
too. It's
Mhm.
really minimalist and neat, but like in a
Yeah.
not neat way. I liked it, like sketchbooky.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But I will say that for a show called Do It Yourself, they did a lot of stuff together.
Yeah.
It's true.
They almost
True.
exclusively didn't do anything on their own.
All accurate. Yeah, I think if anyone, Pudding probably did the most herself.
Yeah.
She joined the club last.
Yeah.
She got her tsundere redemption arc too, so good for her.
She did.
She was quite the tsundere. Yeah.
Jabako got the fuck out of town. Let's go.
Fuck her.
God.
Peace
Yeah,
out.
I was. All
See
I,
you
all I was
later.
gonna. What I was gonna say about the series was, I wouldn't have been like terribly upset if, I don't know, 6 episodes in, just like a metal bar fell on Jobko's head and she died. Like if she did not exist, I think I would have had a much better time.
It's had like a huge Higurashi turn in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
Like, accidents happen when you're building stuff. Maybe someone gets horribly injured.
Yeah,
Well,
the
that's
show
pretty
was
cool.
just like a big like it was actually a big like safety
You're right.
Video.
Cautionary tale.
yeah.
Girls handle power tools.
That's true. Yeah. Jobko sucks. Everything else was okay. I made it through. I don't regret watching it. It was perfectly palatable, I suppose.
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
We can,
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna read Kane's others if we weren't gonna talk about anything else, but if you got something else, we can.
No, you could read through.
You still basically didn't say anything about Mob, and not only is it like your top show and you have a tattoo from it, but it's the end of the entire series.
I know. I feel like I got what I needed to say out last episode.
True.
I will just say I'm very glad I got this timely Mob tattoo right before the 3rd season started, because by the end I did confirm it is one of my favorite series of the decade. So maybe I should talk about it a little bit, but just kind of going over what I had already said about it. I think Mob is one of the best like character study type shows I've ever seen, and it's a show that's like a coming of age story that just so intimately dives into each aspect of the main character's personality and the way that the supporting cast influences him and how they all kind of get their own development as well. It's just like so amazingly written. I just like by the end of the show, I had such a feeling of complete and wholeness that it's really hard to describe when a series you've been watching for so long ends, because you feel just as full as you do empty, and you feel just as sad as you feel like ecstatic and like so happy. And yeah, when that came to an end, I mean the final season was already amazing, and the final episode was just like a perfect wrapping up point where it's like, fuck, I can't believe I live in a post-Mob Psycho world now, but I'm glad we got to see it front to back, a flawless adaptation. That's, I think, out of all the things that we're talking about are good adaptations, Bones didn't miss a single episode in this show's 3 seasons, and I really applaud them for that.
Yeah, they definitely took the approach of leave it as dirty as it was in the manga, but they still managed to put in like some of the best Sakuga animation in any anime ever within that. So it's impressive. Yeah. I think the whole conclusion, Mob's arc, and how it ties together the entire series and just makes it one giant character study and just uses all of its like silly elements and plot elements and fantastical elements just as metaphors for that journey and that coming of age is really incredible. So yeah, I was really happy to see it stick the landing so well and get all 3 seasons such great adaptations.
Yeah, and I mean, if they decide to make OVAs of like the 4 Comas or maybe like the Reagan side story, hey, I won't complain. I'm here for it, but I know Bones are busy. They probably have other things on their plate. Yeah, very happy with Mob Psycho 3.
Yeah. All right. So Kane's other little bits, and we can add to them if we want. But he's got Spy Family. Not much to say here, other than I really, really need a good Yor arc. I've talked about that previously, and the tennis episode is my favorite of the season. Was giddy the whole time, which I definitely called because I know Kane.
It feels strange not having someone talk about Prince of Tennis.
Yeah.
There's a hole in my heart right now.
I know. Like, and at least one of those episodes aired before the last show we recorded. So the fact that we didn't get to hear him talk about it in either of those episodes when that was the most Prince of Tennis shit for like 2 straight episodes of Spy Family.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
Well, if Kane listens to this, don't worry, you're getting your Yor arc, but probably not until mid-second season.
Yeah, that's exactly what I told him when he messaged me that like a few weeks ago.
Yeah. But,
Good, you need one.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that announcement came before the end of this season. Because yeah, that's what I was telling him. I was like, Yor has great material coming up, but they're not going to get to it in this season, so hopefully we get more. And then they announced more, so here we go.
She was about to have a good moment, and then she got really drunk, and then ruined everything. And made me really mad. It was like, oh shit, are we actually gonna have like an emotional moment between these two? Oh nope, never mind. Guess not.
Alcohol strikes again.
I know, right? I'm telling you this. This is the best episode for my anti-alcohol campaign.
This is our dare episode. Yeah, I think I kind of feel it was a pretty common sentiment that like this season was also very good. Maybe it lost a little bit of its luster from the first season. Like maybe it's just like the batch of episodes wasn't as strong, or like the plot didn't move enough to be as enticing as the first part. But I don't think it diminished in any way in any of its qualities. So
yeah, I think the quality of animation and direction was still just as solid throughout. But yeah, the material this season was mostly like little episodic gag bits. You got a little bit of emotional material, a little bit of conflict, the big tennis game near the end. But for the most part, it's just like, yeah, Spy Family being silly. And it's really good at that, and it's really funny and well executed. But it definitely loses some steam just having that be most of the season. So yeah, I'm glad that we don't have to wait too long for more.
yeah,
Because I do know what we get.
I was gonna say, luckily the next batch of stuff will get a little bit more story centric again, which is exciting.
Yeah.
I am very interested in what the movie will be, though, because like it being fully original content is enticing. I feel like there's enough to do with this property that it could really be anything. So
like, because it's such an episodic like comedy series so much of the time, it really doesn't suffer from the issue that so many shonen series have when they try to make a movie that's not, an adaptation of one of the arcs, where they have to be like, how could this fit in? Like, nah, you can have any bullshit happen in Spy Family at any time. Most of the time, they're just fucking around at home.
yeah, it doesn't have the problem with like One Piece Film Red, where it's like, okay, so is it canon or is it not?
Right.
Oda's like, well, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna say she existed and that we mentioned her, and that was her shadow back in whatever chapter or whatever SBS or whatever it was.
Yeah, But also, like with its massive arcs and everything that changes as a result of them, there's no possible place that Film Red can fit into the storyline.
Mhm.
Whereas, yeah, Spy Family, it's like, yeah, nothing really changes. Nothing happens significantly for long periods of time. Doesn't matter. Anything can happen anytime.
Yeah.
And then Kane's last bit was about Gundam. He doesn't say much, so I don't think it's very spoilery to go over. He just says it's shaping up to be my favorite non-UC Gundam show. Does a lot of interesting things like the Gundams as medical tech or Soletta as a character in general. Plus, it's so anti-capitalist. It is just delicious. Gets darker when it needs to, so we aren't bogged down in school stuff. Reminds me a little of Classroom Crisis in the MBA sense. That is that's a deep cut.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a very interesting take on Gundam because we'll be as general as we can be, but yeah, most of the times there's always going to be some politicking and some money moving and some war happening, and usually it's leaning a little bit more towards the war part, but it is cool seeing it lean a little bit more towards the industry side of it more so, and like the business strategies and coups, not coups so much as just like business maneuvers, and like it's almost like watching what's that show with Kevin Spacey in the political one, whatever
House
it
of
is.
Cards.
House of Cards. It's kind of like that, where there's like some inner family. This show is literally like people keep talking about nepotism babies nowadays. It's literally like these are all just like nepotism babies who are like, you know what? Fuck the system. These Gundams are ours.
Right.
Yeah, it is very entertaining, and Suletta is a really cool character. She's like in a similar fashion as Bochi in that she's a character with a very weird social dynamics that I think work really well.
I just thought about just because most of the characters have like prominent parents in the series. What if they did like a Fate Zero style prequel where it like followed all, because they all have like important, interesting backstories too that could be explored.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of like what I thought we were getting with the information from the prelude
Prologue.
episode. Yeah, but I'm confused because apparently they kind of retconned some of the stuff from the prologue. But I think that might just be part of like some kind of weird twist with Soletta's mom. But
yeah, I assume since they made the point of showing everyone that prologue immediately before the series started, that it's just that things are not lining up, and that's on purpose. And there's going to be some reveal that's going to shake that up.
Yeah, this is one of those shows where like I am really enjoying it, but similar to your Chainsaw Man anticipation, I'm like waiting for the drop,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I have a good feeling that the final episode is going to be like a huge cliffhanger.
Probably.
All right.
Yeah.
I will say one final thing, and it's about Pop Team Epic.
No. Moving on to recommendation.
I will say, it is a weird shit post of a show, but go watch the Hellshake Yano episode because it is peak creativity in like motion manga, like illustration, animated manga, whatever you could call it. It's very impressive, and it's a whole 15-minute segment of it. And they did it before in the previous season, and it was super impressive then too. Yeah, I don't know. The show just pushes lots of boundaries. And similarly to how DJ, you feel about, my favorite Arknights character showed up, so I'm happy. The voices of Kiryu and Majima from Yakuza showed up in the final episode, so I'm happy.
That I like.
All right, I'm done.
On a weirdly similar note to that last little bit you mentioned there, I just want to mention that in the Japanese dub of the Super Mario Brothers movie, Mario and Toad are going to be Okabe and Daru.
Yes, that's so insane. Miyano as Mario is so wild. I don't
love
understand.
just this little trailer that they put out, and like the person who just made the cut of all of Miyano's lines.
Just like,
Just,
yes,
like, it's so amazing.
sexy Mario voice. Here we go.
Voice actor in the Japanese dub. Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
All right. Recommendations?
All right. Yeah, so I think I mentioned Mushoku Tensei last time. That just came out on the first part of it on limited and standard editions. And you can pre-order the second part now, so you'll be caught up. Also, Demon Slayer Entertainment District came out, the limited edition of that, as well as standard edition. The limited edition is fucking massive and has, God, I don't even know how many CDs it had in it, but it brings the count of Demon Slayer BGM tracks on the CDs released in the American Blu-rays up to 500 unique tracks. And we're only like a few seasons in, so they're just going to keep coming. Yeah, so check that out if you are collecting those and are willing to sacrifice some shelf space, because it is a thick boy. I think that's mostly what I had for like this month.
Cool. I've got one. It's a pre-order. I don't know if we've talked about it yet. It's highly possible that even I have recommended this before. But Clannad is being re-released on Blu-ray with season 1 and After Story combined. And it is $52 on Right Stuff, and it is worth $1 million because it's my favorite anime ever. And it's a thing that everyone should both own and watch all in one convenient box now. And you should get it. That's the only thing I have this podcast, though.
Clannad is literally one of the longest, one of the shows that's been on my to-watch list the longest. So I should maybe get around to that at some point.
You should probably do that.
So not watching it, you are doing yourself and the world a disservice.
I really am.
It's essential if you continue living.
Essential viewing. Only then will I understand DJ.
Yes, it'll turn
probably
shit around, man.
I mean, I would say that Clannad changed me enough as a person that you probably understand me better.
Damn.
Yeah. Listen to our episode 100 if you haven't. You can hear us gush about it on there.
Okay. I cannot off the top of my head think of any kind of recommendations. So yeah.
Cool.
My
Nice.
recommendation is a video game.
Oh.
What video game?
Chained Echoes is like a PS1 / Sega Saturn's style JRPG made by one German guy. Just one German guy. I think he had somebody else do the music. He spent 7 years making this game. I kickstarted it like 4 years ago, completely forgot about it, and then it came out, and it's amazing.
Like a Stardew Valley story, basically.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. It's actually like he took everything that's annoying about those things and basically just made it like super fast paced. It's like just plot points after plot points after plot points. And there's like you can see all the encounters on the map, and it's fantastic. Everybody should go play it. It's the one video game that I have not regretted kickstarting. My one recommendation.
All right. Well, everyone, please subscribe, rate, and review anywhere you find your podcasts. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Alexa, Amazon Music, Facebook, maybe, I don't know. Fanpost.com. You can find us on social media, Twitter and Facebook. I think Twitter still exists. We are at Fandom Post Radio. You can follow us, share our stuff, get in contact with us, let us know if you got any ideas or discussion points or questions for the upcoming year. We haven't really done like a topic episode probably all year. So yeah, got anything you want us to talk about or just want to put out their opinions? That's cool. I'll be soliciting top anime of the year lists soon. Also check out if you have not listened to our One Piece episode, it is also available on the One Piece podcast's feed. So got some cross promotion going on there. So that's super cool. Hopefully some of you are listening to us because you heard it on there. And I'm also on Twitter while it exists at Full Metal Coma, but I don't post anything ever. But I reviewed all of Chainsaw Man. You can read all that. I wrote a few thousand words about every episode.
You can find me on Twitter at DJ No Style. You can find my video game at lessonsandlovegame.com. An update's coming out in 6 days, and it'll be the last one until March. So get on that shit. It's only the longest game of all time.
Oh god.
I'm coming up on 2 million words, guys.
Oh god.
That's too many words.
It's too many words.
It's so many words.
I feel like you were up to like 1.1 million like a month ago.
Have somebody run your words and see what the most common word you used is that isn't what do you call it?
Oh, you already have that, right?
We had a whole list of them. Yeah, I don't have it anymore. We ran the whole thing through a bot, and I can't remember what.
You should run it through a bot again and see what it is now.
Probably fuck. I curse a lot.
You can find me at Hellshake Brando on all the socials and YouTube and Twitch, even though I haven't put anything on those in a few months. But I think I will be making a Chainsaw Man AMV, which is exciting because I haven't made one of those in a while. So don't expect it for a few months at least. But yeah, and then look forward to more reviews. I just put out one for The Spoke Rohan Kishibe. And I am still writing about Mashal every week, so take a look at those over at the Fandom Post.
On the internet at Sonic Bug. I have locked my Twitter account to friends only for the time being. Twitter ever resuscitates in a form that is more useful and isn't sending me a bunch of weird ass spam posts, then yeah, maybe I'll start using it again. But I don't know. I'm on our stuff, and I don't know. You can track me down. I'm probably the only one of my kind on the internet. I'm pretty easy to find.
All right. Well, who's gonna do the outro?
True. We need the transition guy and the outro guy replaced. God damn.
Oh god, damn. All right. So thank you for joining us this week. Tune in next week or next episode when we cover the end of the year.
May of 2022.
Yeah, the whole year in review episode. Vizuvula noises. Please,
Send
send top 10s. We'd love to read your top 10s. We haven't had a good submission thing in a while, so we'll try to get some people from the website to spit out some numbers and words at us too that we can read on the episode. So join us for then, and until then, have a happy and safe New Year's Eve, and see you next year.
Adios.